The examples that we did in number 3, letters G at the end there, and then C, where we had the 1/3 either out in front or inside the parentheses, are what are called non-rigid transformations. So rigid transformations, if we look at this first part, is just moving like up and down, side to side, and reflecting, the horizontal, vertical, and reflections. Those are kind of the more simple, more straightforward. I'm just flipping it or moving it side to side. But the non-rigid, they cause a distortion in the shape, like the width of it. It shrinks it, it stretches it. Notice the terminology used down here, shrink and stretch. And so depending on where that value is, for us in our examples, it was 1/3. So when that 1/3 was out in front, remember we said in this case, we're going to take that C value and multiply all the Y values times that. And then we said that X stays the same. So if the Y values are changing, we're moving up and down, we're moving vertically. So you have your vertical there. So when that C value is bigger than 1, we're increasing our Y values. So we're stretching, we're increasing the vertical length. When the C value is a fraction between 0 and 1, and they say between 0 and 1 because the negative is a reflection, it doesn't impact it. So when you have a fraction or a decimal less than 1, you're going to shrink it because those Y values are going to get smaller. So the vertical side is going to get smaller. And then just the opposite is true when that C value is inside your parentheses. In this case, remember we said we multiplied 1 over C. We took the opposite, 1 over C times X, and then the Y value stays the same. And in this case, because the X value is changing, you are shrinking, or sorry, you're shrinking or you're changing side to side. So horizontally, you are changing. And then horizontally, you're changing. So when that C value is bigger than 1, you're actually multiplying by a fraction, right? Because remember, said it's going to be the opposite. So when it's greater than 1, we're shrinking because we're going to multiply by a fraction or divide. And then when it's in between 0 and 1, we're multiplying by a number that's greater than 1. And so we are going to stretch it out. So there's the rules technically for what we did in those examples called non-rigid transformations. And then here's just a quick example comparing the graphs. So here the 3 is on the outside. So that means we're going to take 3 times the whatever the Y value is. So that means my Y value will increase because we're multiplying it by 3. So that means vertically, because Y value is vertically, increasing it is going to stretch it out. So it's a vertical stretch. And then letter B here just has a 1/3, still outside the parentheses. So 1/3 times Y, which means the Y value now is going to decrease. And so we're still working vertically because it's the Y value, and then decreasing it, we're going to shrink it. So a vertical shrink. All right, so that finishes up the notes. Here are the problems I want you to do. Now, normally, whenever you do any even problems, I would give you the entire key. However, there's a lot of graphing, so please use the back of the book here to check the odds, and here I have the evens for you. As always, let me know if you have questions.